Hey everybody, how you doing? I hope everyone is enjoying their day. I first want to say thank you and welcome you to the Essential Discourse Podcast. I am your host, Bruce Smith, and this is our very first podcast for 2025. And I would like to say to each and every last one of you, Happy New Year. I hope that you've had a fantastic holiday season. I hope that you have consciously kept the reason for the season in mind. And I just want to holler at you for a second and make sure that we're all locked in. You know, with the start of the new year, many people do this thing called New Year's resolution. I haven't done one in quite some time, primarily because many of the resolutions that I've sat in the past, I didn't complete. And I don't think that I'm by myself with that. But what I have started doing is I've started setting some goals. And what I discovered is that many of the goals I was setting were ending up just like many of those resolutions that I was setting, unfulfilled, incomplete, not really started, because, quite frankly, because I didn't do what I needed to do in regards to making those goals a reality. And I was just sitting here thinking about this a couple of days ago, and I posted something that really impacted me prior to me posting it to you guys. And I was just like, many naysayers will not believe, will not support, will not do a whole lot of anything to help you succeed. But we tend to think of naysayers as people on the outside versus, me, myself, and I am my biggest naysayer. So with that in mind, I just gave some thought to, how to achieve these goals that we set. Not necessarily for the new year, but goals that we set for ourselves in day-to-day life. And I was under the heavy weight of, having to first look at this for myself before I could come and talk to you guys about it. And I came to the realization that I'm just talking about me. I don't finish well with the goals that I set because I don't start off right. Now, I know we've all heard the term, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But I submit that if you start out right, it's easier to correct if you should happen to fall off the course or get distracted or, leave the path for any amount of time. It's easier to backtrack and say, okay, this is where I messed up when you start off right. Reaching these goals is the equivalent of getting something from Amazon that requires assembly, or something from Home Depot or Wayfair or what's that place? When you buy the cheap furniture, you just put it together. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't think of the name of it right now. But it's the equivalent. Starting goals and completing goals is equivalent to buying something that needs assembly. And we do not read the instruction manual. We just start, okay, this go there, and I've done this before, and I can do this, such and such did it. I shouldn't have any problem doing it because, hey, I'm smarter than such and such. And that may be true. But are you more prepared than such and such? Because such and such has done the research, such and such has read the manual, such and such has done all these things that are necessary to reach that goal. You and I, on the other hand, we've just started trying to put pieces together and have absolutely no idea what we got going on. And then when we finish it, you got 16 screws and 36 washers left over. And it's like, man, where this go? I know this wasn't intended for this because I put this thing together. But if we had read the instructions, everything would have been in its right place. And perhaps you would have had a couple of accessories, a couple of pieces of hardware left over just in case, you messed up one time. You would have had a couple of pieces of hardware left over, a couple of screws, a couple of washers, a couple of nuts, a couple of bolts. You might have had a couple of things left over. And if you had those couple of things left over, you're pretty sure that you put it together. However, if you've got, pieces of wood and screws and gaskets and all this stuff that's just laid out, and you know good and doggone well that a lot of this stuff should be on that piece of equipment that you just put together. Now you got to backtrack, and it takes you even longer to see where you fell when you got off the path. So I don't intend to be in front of you very long. I just want to give you guys a practical illustration of what I'm talking about. The importance of starting right so you can end well in 2025 in regards to our goals. In regards to ending well in 2025, starting right. To end well in 2025, we have to start right as it relates to our goals. We have to ensure that we have the correct mindset. What's the correct mindset? Well, the correct mindset is knowing what you want to do, why you want to do it, and what's it going to take to get done. That's just three of the principles ensuring you have the correct mindset. The other aspect, and there are more, but those are the main three. Those are the main three that we have to take an account of. Because if I don't have the correct mindset, if I have a quitter's mindset, I'll be done before I even really get started. You understand what I'm saying? It's like having that gym membership at the first of the year. And you start out on fire. But that one day it's a little cold, and you don't feel like getting out to bed, and that's the hardest day to quit, that first time you quit. And then, maybe a week or two later, you don't feel like going again. It's a little easier to quit. Well, you've developed a quitter's mindset. I can make up for that day this afternoon, and this afternoon comes and goes, and you've not made it to the gym yet. So you have to have the correct mindset. You have to have it. You have to have it in order to finish well. You gotta have it to start off right, but you also have to have it to finish well. And you have to think about what's the real motivation force. What's the real motivating force for this goal? Why are you doing it? Who are you doing it for? What benefit is it to you? And does it just benefit you, or does it benefit those who are around you? What's the real motivating force for the goal? And if we could articulate that, then having the right mindset is a little easier. It's a little easier for us to have the correct mindset when we recognize and understand and identify the real motivating force for the goal. Man, listen, has anybody ever asked you to do something you really didn't feel like doing it, and you kind of like half-heartedly did it? Yeah. And you was like, well, that's good enough. That's a good enough attitude. You better be glad I did it, because I really didn't feel like doing it. But when we realize what the real motivating force is behind our goals, we go at it full throttle. We go at it because, hey, I know why I'm doing it. And because I know why I'm doing it, I got the correct mindset in getting it done. And the next thing we need to do is we need to know who, the what, and the why we've chosen this goal or these goals. You know, who influenced me to choose this goal? Is this something that I want to do, or is this something that somebody's been nagging me about? And so I said, I'm gonna do it, just to keep from hearing their mouth, or you know what I'm saying? You know how we do. You know, don't make me feel like I'm by myself, right? So not only do you have to concern yourself with who's influencing you to do it, and hopefully that influence is coming from within yourself to say, you know what, this is a way that I can get better. This is a way for me to become the best version of me that I can be. Hopefully that is the reason that you're doing what you're doing. Maybe you got a bad habit, you know, that you've decided that, you know, I need to break this habit because I want to be around, you know, to see my grandkids grow up. I want to be around to spend, you know, as much time as I can with my significant other. I want to be around to do those things that's on my bucket list that I hadn't got an opportunity to do yet, you know? So that's the who aspect. Who's motivating you? Who's influencing you in the choosing of your goal or goals? Then there's the what. You know, what is the goal? What is the goal? What is the benefit of the goal? What is the purpose of the goal? You know, what am I doing this for? You know, and not only what am I doing this for, why am I doing it? You know, these are some hard questions that if you would really ask yourself about them, you know, you would just, man, if you would really ask yourself these 3 questions concerning you getting started in 2025 to finish well in 2025 with the goals that you set, you'll be halfway there. You'll be halfway there if you can really and honestly answer these 3 W questions. Who, what, why have I chosen these goals? You know, who's influencing me? Hopefully it's me. Hopefully it's coming from within. Because if it's coming from within, if it's coming from me, you know, the distractions, they won't bother me. What? You know, identify the what of the matter, and now you can answer the why of the matter. It benefits me. It benefits my health. It benefits my family environment. It benefits the peace that I might have in my home if I break some of these bad habits, or if I pick up a good habit. If I start saving money, if I start saving, you know, 25% of my income instead of spending on unnecessary stuff like all these shoes that's getting ready to come out in 25. And it's a bunch of them. I'm just here to let you know, it's a bunch of them. And I'm going to be fighting myself not to break my goal of, you know, conserving and not buying stuff that I really don't need, you know, because there's like 900 pair of Jordans coming out this year in all the colorways that we want. You feel me? But what can I do with that $230, $250 that I was going to spend on 14 pair of shoes throughout the year? I could have saved that money. Could have saved that money so that I could take a trip, you know, or I could save that money just in case an emergency comes through. So the who, the what, and the why that we choose these goals are those, think of them as those left and right boundaries. You know, it keeps you from straying too far to the left, too far to the right, and kind of keeps you on the path. It keeps you on the path because, A, I recognize that, you know, the real motivating force for this goal. B, I've got the correct mindset. And it's evident that I have the correct mindset because I've answered these questions honestly and truthfully. So then, ladies and gentlemen, we have to consider the cost. And I kind of mentioned that earlier. We have to consider the cost. You may have to inconvenience yourself to achieve your goal consistently. You may have to inconvenience yourself consistently in order to achieve your goal. I might want to get those Kobe's that's getting ready to drop in that colorway that I always wanted. but I never could get around to getting it. I might want to get those metallic J's because every time I tried to get them when they previously came out, they were sold out. And I got big feet. And the big feet shoes, the shoes for big feet people, they sell out quickly. So I might have to inconvenience myself from getting what I want temporarily to get what I want long term. I might have to eat a little humble pie instead of giving a joker a piece of my mind, because I need to have a steady income coming in so that I can achieve these things that I want to achieve. You know, I just might have to bite my tongue when I know something is wrong, but I don't have any ability or the authority to change it. And me saying something about it, it's not going to make a difference. So I might have to stop eating fried chicken and French fries and barbecue ribs and all this other stuff if I want to lose a significant amount of weight by a specified time for a specific event. I have to inconvenience myself from the things that I enjoy doing to do the things that I really don't want to do in order to get what I want. And that is the achieving of the goal. Mike Tyson said something, and I might be misquoted, so let me just paraphrase it the way that I remember it. Mike Tyson said, discipline is doing what you hate like you love it. That's inconveniencing yourself to achieve your goal. We got to have discipline in order to reach our goals. You can't, and I mentioned it earlier, you can't have a quitter's mentality. You can't have a justification. I'm going to justify my actions for not being disciplined mentality. I've got to inconvenience myself with the truth. I've got to inconvenience myself with discipline. I've got to inconvenience myself with self-control in order to achieve my goal. And I know that's tough because some of us really do like butter pecan ice cream. But some of us know that butter pecan ice cream ain't helping me lose them pounds that I want to lose so that I can get into this beach wear that I want to get into on this trip that we've got planned. Or better yet, butter pecan ice cream is not conducive to me no longer being pre-diabetic. You know, fried pork chop sandwiches and fried chicken are not conducive to me lowering my A1C and other cholesterols. So we have to inconvenience ourselves to achieve our goals, and you're gonna have to inconvenience yourself consistently. Yeah. For those of us who said that we're going to be more spiritual and we're going to get into the Bible more, you know what? You got to inconvenience yourself. You got to inconvenience yourself because, hey, I'd rather be on TikTok watching cat videos. I'd rather be doing that. But I set a goal, and if I want to reach this goal, I've got to inconvenience what I want, what I want temporarily for what I desire long term. So yeah, we got to consider the cost. That's just the first aspect of considering the cost. The second aspect of considering the cost, you've got to be prepared to sacrifice fun, pleasure, and socializing for work, hard work, and harder work. I got to sacrifice some fun. I've got to sacrifice some pleasure. I got to sacrifice, some socializing. And what am I sacrificing it for? I'm sacrificing it for work, hard work, and harder work. So that I can stay within those left and right boundaries on the path to achieving my goal. Yeah, inconveniencing myself consistently to achieve the goal. Because I know the who, the what, and the why I've chosen this goal. Not only do I know the who, what, and why I chose this goal, I know what the real motivating force behind the goal is. And all of this is evidence that I'm what? I'm ensuring that I have the correct mindset. I'm starting out right so that I can finish well. And finishing well is obtaining the goal. So that's 1 and 2 of considering the cost. And here's the final one, in considering the cost. You got to consider the cost. Are you prepared to learn from failure? Are you prepared to learn from failure? Are you prepared to adjusting and adapting from the lessons learned from the failure? Let's just be honest. Gabe. We're gonna fail. That's just a fact. We are going to stumble. We are going to fall. We're going to make mistakes. You know, didn't know what you were doing, and you learned it from the from actual experience of making that mistake. Now, if you do the same thing again, it's no longer a mistake. I just want to put that out there. If you do the same thing over and over again, you can't call it a mistake. That's a choice that you've made, right? But when you honestly fail, when you honestly stumble, are you prepared to learn from the failure? Are you prepared to learn from the stumbles? Are you prepared to learn from, okay, I ate 6 cookies and I was so hungry, and it's because I did not follow my meal plan properly. I did not eat my snack prior to lunch, and I didn't eat my snack after lunch. And that meeting lasted so long, and by the time I got out, the first thing I saw was those cookies, and I gave them cookies the business. So what did we learn from this? Well, I gotta follow my meal plan. And if I'm in a meeting, I've got to ensure that I've got something in there that's going to be healthy and that's going to be beneficial for me. It's not gonna take me outside of those left and right boundaries. Failure is not a bad thing when you learn the lessons from failure. Failure is only bad when you consistently fail at the same thing. That says that you haven't learned your lesson. So let's review real quick. You've got to consider the cost. To say you're going to have to inconvenience yourself consistently to achieve your goal. That's number 1. Number 2, you got to be prepared to sacrifice fun, pleasure, and socializing for work, hard work, and harder work. And the third cost consideration that we need to be prepared to do is learn from our failures and make adjustments and adapt from the lessons that we've learned. So we're nearly there. We're nearly there. But I have to ask you, do we have a plan? Do we have a plan in regards to reaching our goals? If you've done everything that I've mentioned so far, I think you can answer that yes. But I think the problem for a lot of us is that we start off with great intentions and high motivation without a plan. Without a plan that does not take in consideration, sometimes I'm not going to feel like going to the gym. So what's the fix for that? Sometimes I'm not going to feel like getting up and doing this meal prep. What's the fix for that? What's my plan for that? I know it's going to happen. What's my plan for that? What is my plan for the worst case scenario of me staying focused and disciplined and staying within the left and right boundaries of meeting these goals? How do I stay right? How do I stay on the right path? That's a part of planning. And it's not enough to just have a plan, but has your plan been reviewed by someone who's been successful in the field that you're trying to be successful in. Now, I say in your field. I'm not really talking about work, but it can apply to work. I'm talking about personal goals, beneficial things for you as an individual, beneficial things for you as a family unit, beneficial things for you spiritually, physically, mentally. Has your plan been reviewed by someone who's been successful in doing what you're trying to do? There's nothing wrong. There is absolutely nothing wrong with asking someone who has battled those circumstances, those conditions, those circumstances. There's nothing wrong with asking them, you know what? How did you do it? Well, this is the plan that I'm going to take. Would you mind taking a look at this and provide me some of your experiential knowledge? That's why community is so important. That's why engagement is so important, man, because we can learn more from others if we just ask ourselves, ask others, and be open to receive, the wisdom that they have to give. Now, I can give you all the wisdom in the world in regards to a certain thing. It's going to take you being convinced that, okay, it worked for them, and this seems logical. I'm going to do my research on it, right? But you would still have to apply the plan or the amendments to the plan. And this is why community is so important, because sometimes we can plan some things and not really fully understand the process and that we're going through. And if we were to just humble ourselves and ask, those who have been through it, who have going through it, who have successfully overcome certain things, we can save ourselves a lot of time, a lot of frustration, and a lot of setbacks and a lot of retracking to get back on track. So, do you have a plan? Now, have you considered all the obstacles that could take place? And if you haven't even considered the obstacles that could take place, how about the obstacles that you know are going to take place? Because you know that your bed acts like it kind of functions as a vice grip sometimes, and it's hard for you to get out that thing. So what's the plan? What's the fix for that? How do we overcome that? What's the workaround? Those are the honest and hard questions that we have to ask ourselves, and we have to think through if we're going to have the right mindset to start off right so that we can finish well in 2025 as it relates to our goals. Mentorship. Now, this goes with planning and asking, someone that we know has overcome certain things that we might be trying to overcome or achieve, right? Do you have a mentor? Do you have someone who can guide you? Do you have someone who can instruct you? Do you have someone who can, hey man, I see you working hard, but try this, and I guarantee you'll get some better results. Do we have that? Do we have a community of people who are willing to guide us, to show us, to help us, to encourage us to reach these goals? Now, it's kind of hard to become a millionaire when all you hang around is 100 heirs. 100 heirs. Is that even a word? 100, you know what I'm saying? Not 1,000 heirs, not 10,000 heirs, not 100,000 heirs. You fooling around with folk who are 100 heirs. 700 at the most. So imagine trying to be a millionaire and all you do is hang around 100 heirs. It's probably not going to happen. So you got to start hanging around folk, man, and asking these people, study these people, mimic these people to a certain extent in order to reach your goals. And finally, here's the word that we all hate: accountability. Are you resolved to be accountable? And it can't be to yourself alone, right? I can't say I'm accountable to myself and that's good enough. No, because yourself will let yourself cheat. Yourself will let yourself choose what's seemingly easier. You know, yourself will allow you to not sacrifice fun, to not sacrifice, those things that you want to do versus the things that you need to do in order to reach those goals. So, are you resolved to be accountable? And if so, who's going to hold you accountable and support you by being bluntly honest about your behavior, your actions, perhaps justifying not doing some things? Who's going to hold you accountable? Who's gonna say, man, you know we can't do this, bro. You know you can't be doing that, man. And you know your A1C is way up there, man. You said you wanted to get off the cholesterol pills, right? But what you doing this for then? Why aren't we baking this chicken versus frying it? And vice versa. Who's supporting you? Who's supporting you with the blunt, honest truth? You know what, man? I see your effort and I applaud you for your effort. However, you know that you can do better, don't you? And again, this all boils down to a community. Once you have established the right mindset, once you have gotten the right mindset, and you have gone and you have decided that I'm doing this for the right reasons, I know what the motivating factor is behind me doing this, it just makes things a whole lot better. In order to finish well in 2025, is it necessary that you start off right? No, not necessarily. But will it make it a whole lot easier if you start out right? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I encourage each and every one of us who have set some goals to really, really think about the things that I discussed with you here today, to really think about those things and to write it down. Write it down. Play devil's advocate if you have to, in order to cover all the mishaps and the things that could possibly happen that could derail you from reaching your goals. Find someone who you're comfortable with being accountable to, and someone who will support you. Not butter you up and tell you what you want to hear, but tell you the God honest truth about where you are in relation to meeting your goals. Hey guys, I'm Bruce Smith. This has been the Essential Discourse Podcast, and hopefully you'll be able to share some of the goals that you've reached this year. And hopefully you guys will come back and say, hey, Bruce, some of the things that you mentioned or all the things that you mentioned, it really helped me out this year, man. Your podcast, the information that you put out was great. I shared it. We're starting to follow you. And man, I am just pleased to be here still in the land of the dying. I'm just happy to be here, and I look forward to more engagement from you guys, with you guys, because it makes the difference. It really does. The more engaged that you guys are, the more encouragement I gain to keep on going. All right, guys, I hope that you have a blessed night, blessed morning, blessed afternoon, whenever you're listening to this. I'm going to plan on going live a little bit more often this year. Whether, people sign on or not, we're going to do what we've been called to do. And we're just going to trust God for the results and what he's going to do with this media and podcast. Again, you can find us on Facebook, Essential Discourse Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at BrewsterTruth2. And also on YouTube at BrewsterTruth2. We're also on TikTok same call sign, Bruce the Truth too. The Essential Discourse Podcast can be listened to at www.edpshow.com, or you can go to Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts. The Essential Discourse Podcast is there. Thank you again for your support. I appreciate you guys. Stay blessed. Be good to yourself. Be better to others. I love you. Peace out.